Let's not act like we're not here to see the Countess fall and drunk Dorinda. Let's get into this review. The ladies finally arrive in Mexico, and Bethenny is sick again. Like, I don't know what it is about a upcoming Mexico trip that gets her, like, her body equilibrium or whatever, like, all out of whack, because she gets sick every time she tries to plan this Mexico trip. I don't know if it's the Lord trying to tell her something, but she don't listen anyway. Then Ramona, she got, like, some type of facial, wait, what is it? A chemical pill. She got like some type of chemical pill, which only rich people do because it's something that they do to make it appear that they're younger, but you guys are aging. It is what it is. And then you do the chemical pill and you still go tanning. So you got to get out of the sun. That's your problem, the sun, because you don't have the melanin to upstand that sun. So you got to get out the sun so you won't age as fast as you do. PSA, the more you know. Ramona's like walking around Mexico looking like a freshly bitten zombie. And I'm like, sis, if you got a chemical pill, why in the hell are you going to a place that's this close to the equator? Why did your doctor even allow you to go on this trip? He probably didn't. You just so damn busy that you wanted to go on this trip anyway. And maybe they get like a bonus for these trips. Probably right, because they always seem to turn up the mess, the shade, the drama, and all kinds of crazy sexualness when they go out of the country. So maybe they do get like some kind of bonus to make them turn it up a bit. I don't know, just speculation. Carol comes all the way to Mexico to only crave Taco Bell. Like, isn't that an insult to Mexicans? And I don't even think there is a Taco Bell in Mexico. I could be wrong. I've never been. I want to go. I want to go before they build the wall. It's never happening. I think I'm right. I think it is an insult to Mexican people because one of my girlfriends who's Mexican, she asked me if I had ever had like Mexican food. Like, we were going to this Mexican restaurant and she would just ask me if I ever had like Mexican food. And I was like, yeah, sure. I've been to Taco Bell a few times. The look in her face. She was so disgusted by that comment. She didn't even have to say anything. I was just like, is that not Mexican food? She was like, Nikki, I explained to her that I'm from Philly and we didn't really have like a Mexican community at that time. Now we do. We have a huge Mexican community in Philly. Over the past like 10 years, there's been a huge Mexican migration over into Philly. So we're having like a lot of Mexican restaurants popping up all over the place, and it's fabulous. Like, I honestly love it. But to be honest, there was not a community, Mexican community in Philly 10 years prior. So the only like real experience that I had into something that was considered Mexican food was Taco Bell. So we had a huge conversation about it, and she forgave me and she realized that I was just, an ignorant American. I just didn't have that experience. But I really think it's an insult. I could be wrong. But from that conversation that I had with my girlfriend, I think I'm right. It's so awkward to see like Bethenny and Ramona having like a friendly conversation. And of course it's, they're adults, they're grown-ups, they have to like film together, they're also co-workers. So I get that they're trying to like make nice for the sake of everyone else on the trip and for the sake of the job. I get it. It's just so weird because they had a few brutal fights where a lot of insults were thrown, like deep, like low ball insults were thrown, and nothing was really resolved. I'm sitting there and I'm watching them and I'm just like, at some point they're going to get into it again because it's like they put this blanket over like a ticking time bomb, and at some point that bomb is going to explode and all the issues that they never resolved is going to come up again. I feel like it's going to happen over something really petty, and then all of a sudden that anger and hate that they have for each other. Because I feel like at some point they're going to have a huge argument over something really, really petty. And you're going to realize that that's coming from the fact that they have unresolved issues. So Ramona can't say anything wrong. Bethenny can't look at Ramona a certain way, or it'll just pop off because they never really resolved anything. So it's just weird watching them when I'm just waiting for the argument to start because they are not cool. So the ladies arrive to this gorgeous villa, and there's is it called butler? I don't know. There's the staff meets them there. One of them has a tray of like margaritas, and everybody takes their margarita and goes to, experience the villa. And then Sonja walks up to the guy and she starts sipping the drink, like looking at him, and then she stops. She says, "Is this alcoholic?" And sips again. The guy says yes, and then she stops sipping. She took like 3 large sips and was just like, "Oh, I'm not drinking any alcohol this trip," and sashays away. And I'm like, this is why Sonja is on this show, because she's so weird, but like funny weird, like me. No, I'm not as hoish. Oh gosh, so we get this room fiasco with Ramona and Sonja. They do it every trip, and it gets more and more annoying every trip. Thankfully, Bethenny shuts it down because they're trying to like figure out who's going to stay in what room. And I feel like it's so disrespectful to do to the host. And thinking about that, doesn't the host arrive to the like girls trip early to set things up so that there's not this kind of room fiasco every time. I think that that's very smart. If you're going to host a girls trip, arrive early if you can, and just, you know, set everything up and make, you know, put little gifts in people's rooms and give everybody a theme to their room so there won't be any like anyone feeling slighted that they got like the worst room. I always thought that the host arrives early for the girls trip, but you know, maybe that's just me. Money can't buy you class. It's so sad that they had to resort to picking numbers out of a bowl because these beyond middle-aged women could not pick a room without it being a disagreement. Like Ramona and Sonja took like a really fun trip that everybody was getting along, that it seems, in the beginning, and just made it so divisive, and they just really brought it down because nobody had issues. Like even Bethenny and Ramona were playing nice, and then you get to this villa and Ramona and Sonja are just being such petty brats about this room situation. So they had to pick numbers. Grown women had to pick numbers out of a bowl to get a room. Karma serves Ramona and Sonja exactly what they deserve, and they actually have to pick their room last. Tinsley gets the number 1 pick, so then Ramona starts like trying to peer pressure her into giving her the ticket, or at least Sonja the ticket. And then Tinsley's just like, you know what? I don't like this pressure. I'm gonna give it to Bethenny. She deserves it anyway. She's the host of the trip. Smart. Like, why wouldn't you give the host of the trip the first pick? So Ramona and Sonja get upset. Then Ramona, like in a separate room, Ramona says to Sonja, oh, she's not a nice girl, is she? Because she's staying at your townhouse for free. She should have given you the room. And then, like, it's so sad that Sonja is this old in her life. Like, you know, she's over 50. And she said that she's set in her ways when she was refused to apologize to Countess. But it's just like, honey, you can't be set in dum-dum, because Ramona was able to manipulate her into getting mad at Tinsley and starting an argument with Tinsley. Sonja had no problems with Tinsley. Like, at that moment, like they have their underlying problems, but she didn't have any problems with Tinsley. All of a sudden, Ramona gets in her ear and tells her how Tinsley isn't a nice girl because she wouldn't give it a ticket for the room. Then she beefs up Sonja. Then Sonja goes and attacks weak and frail Tinsley, who starts falling apart over that. Then a huge argument ensues, and they're like literally, Sonja and Ramona are literally fighting with the girls as, I guess, I don't know if it's the butler, whoever, as one of the staff members is taking them around the villa and showing them the different rooms and just showing them the place in general. They cannot even take in this moment, how fortunate they are to be able to do something like this and how beautiful this place is. They just want to argue about a room. Then everybody starts to pick their rooms. Dorinda gets a room. Then Ramona and Sonja, Ramona spearheaded this, decides that they're going to take Dorinda's room and she can go and stay with Carol. Dorinda is like trying to break down, and she's just like, you know, I don't want to go into it with them. I'll just give it to him. And Bethenny is like, this is your room. Stand your ground. Don't let them do that. So they're trying to bulldoze Dorinda out of a room. I can't believe that I'm actually talking about middle-aged women fighting over a room at a Mexican villa. Like, this is so petty and just childish. Anyway, Dorinda finally like finds her voice and sets the lady straight and decides that she's going to take her room. She cusses Ramona out, and Ramona needed it. And I guess Ramona realized that she went too far with Dorinda, so she was just like, oh no, I wasn't going to stay here. I was actually going to leave. I was going to leave. I was going to leave. No, you were not, Ramona. You are so petty and childish. Like, I mean, I know that they have to film with them on these trips, but I mean, you know what? This is the only way they're going to learn. I think, and Bethenny don't even have the power to do this, but I think that at some point somebody has to like be like, you know what? You girls are brats. You can't go on this trip, because I'm telling you, it got Sonja together when Sonja couldn't go to the Berkshires. Honey, mother, she never forgot it, but she got herself together. She wasn't acting a fool at any more of Dorinda's events, but now she's acting a fool at Bethenny's stuff. So I'm hoping that somebody gets them together and be like, this trip you won't go on because you make it miserable for everybody else. I guarantee you they won't pull that room stunt ever again. And since we're here talking about terrible behavior, I absolutely hate how Ramona treats the staff at anywhere that they go, any trip that they're on. She is so terrible to the staff. This scene of her with one of the 2 or 3 of the staff members is so entitled and disgusting, and one of the main reasons why Americans have a bad name when traveling, because she's so pompous and terrible to these people. I've been told several times when I've traveled overseas, do not let people know that you're American, because they will treat you differently, because Americans tend to be very nasty to like international people. They're very entitled, and they expect certain things that are just not normal in certain areas. It's just like, research where you're going first. But she don't even have to do research to realize she's treating these people poorly. And I just didn't like it at all. I hated that scene, and I hated how Sonja sat there and joked about it in her confessional. Like, it was funny the way she was treating these people. And it was for her to say, oh, I tipped them well, so it's, you know, so basically it's okay for her to treat this man like this because she tips him well. And I don't know. I mean, I've never traveled and had like a villa and had like staff. I have had like butlers and things of that situation, but I've never had like in-house staff that like cooks for you, cleans for you, and all of that stuff. But I do know that you should not treat people that way. I mean, it's just a normal reaction. Like, my reaction to her treating them like that was just very disgusting. Let me know in the comment section below if you've traveled and you've had like a villa and you've had your own staff. Are the people supposed to like give you tea at the, and give like what? Let me know in the comment section below if you have traveled and you have had like a villa and you have had like your own staff in an international location. Are the people supposed to wait on you hand and foot like this? Are they supposed to like unpack your luggage and put your shoes up and get you tea at 9 a.m. when you requested? And I thought that they were just supposed to like clean and get towels and, you know, prepare the dinner, and, you know, if you need something, help you with your bags to the room. But to literally unpack your luggage, have this man handling your funky shoes and drawers, I was disgusted. Absolutely disgusted by that. And Ramona, you better watch it, because I guarantee you that one of them spit in your tea or Pinot Grigio. You know, this balloon game that Dorinda introduces to Carol, I have played this at several hood baby showers, so I don't think that it's just a UK game. Or maybe it originated there. It's nice to know the origin of the game, but I was just like, ooh, I have played this in Philly for years. And I played it at a couple of like church baby showers and weddings. Oh, Ramona just looks terrible. If I was her, I would have missed this trip. Can I tell you? Because there is no way that you're going to get me on national TV looking like baked ziti. Her skin, like, she just looks worse and worse and worse as the day goes on. And honestly, to the point where I don't think it's healthy for her to be out in this sun. If you've had a chemical pill, let me know in the comment section below if it's like safe to go out in the sun and like extreme heat and extreme sun. Lord, I just had like a blueberry sour candy, and I'm telling you, my jaw is like locked. Jaw and tongue is on lock. Never again. Never again. I feel like I'm a little hard on Tinsley, and rightfully so. Like, Tinsley really hasn't given me anything worthwhile, but I will say this. Tinsley's gold vacation, she looked great. Like, I mean, we talked about the fashions last review, but this review, she is bringing it. I love that gold off the shoulder dress that she has. She looked so great. Anyway, Tinsley is talking to Carol, and she tells her that a friend texts her. This is the thing. If you're from, you know what? I lived in New York, right? I knew about the New York Post, and I knew about Page Six. I think that the New York Post and Page Six is like a high society thing, because, you know, I lived in Brooklyn Heights, and I also lived in the Bronx. And it was never like a big deal if you're in the New York Post or Page Six. So I'm thinking it's a high society thing, because they get really stressed out when the story is posted about them in this page or in this. Is it a gossip column? I thought it was like a satire magazine. Whatever, I don't know anything about it. But anyway, they get really stressed when stuff is put in the post about them. And I get that this story about Tinsley wasn't a good thing, but I'm like, Tinsley, this is good for you because you really don't have anything else going on. At least people are talking about you. Bad press is good press, okay? So at least they're talking about you. But she didn't like what was said, and I totally understand. And let me tell you something. I told y'all about these Bravo editors. They are so shady. Tinsley got a text from her friend about a story is going to be posted to her about in the Post or Page Six, whatever. And the friend is telling her everything that's going to be said. And it's something about how she doesn't give Sonja a gift and she's staying in her place for free. And then the shady Bravo editors cut back to Ramona saying the same thing about Tinsley not being appreciative of us living in Sonja's ran down crack townhouse. So she gets upset about that, and Carol is just fueling the fire. She's like, oh, this has Ramona written all over it. And honestly, I actually thought it was Ramona too, especially from the receipts from the Shady Bravo editors. But as the night went on, I'm questioning if it was Ramona or Sonja. It could be a mixture of the both of them, but I know that one of them put them in there. So Tinsley doesn't say anything because Bethenny comes in. Bethenny's like, I'm starving. What is going on? So they try to tell her about it, and Bethenny's just like, forget about it. Let's go down and eat. We're an hour late. So Bethenny don't care because she wants something to eat, and she's already in a mood. Understandable. I'm telling you, I am sweet as pie unless I'm hungry. You don't like me when I'm hungry. And you know what? Come to think about it, I do think that it's Sonja at this point because, oh no, it might be Sonja or Ramona because I've been watching this show since the pilot. And every reunion, they have accused Sonja or Ramona of selling stories to the Post or what was the other one I mentioned? Page 6. And I think it's one of them or a combination of the both of them because they have always been accused of doing that. No other housewives on this show has ever been accused of selling stories as much as Sonja and Ramona. And that's probably something that they do. Listen, it's a way to keep their name out there. So we don't get drunk Dorinda on this episode. We get drunk Countess. Dorinda was just like, I'm about to be smashed, so I'm gonna just go ahead and go to bed because I don't want y'all getting this footage of me. So she puts herself to bed because Dorinda was already at that point because she can't hold liquor. Dorinda is such a lightweight. It's hilarious. She has like one glass of like champagne and she's out. But the Countess, I guess them tequilas were like really, really strong. Was it tequilas or margaritas? One or the other. I guess they were like really, really strong because the Countess was gone. And guys, can I tell you, watch this show from the beginning. I have never seen Countess this smashed. I've seen her tipsy. I have never seen her smashed. She is out of her mind. And that's making me think for the Countess to be off her game, that not everything is okay at home. Because the word on the street, we'll get into that later. The Countess is just smashed at this dinner. She's like trying to like talk to the girls, but none of what she is saying is making sense. She gives like this slurred speech, cheers or toast to Bethenny, like thanking her for the trip. And rightfully so. I'm just like, I get that this is a scheduled trip, right? But the storyline was put on Bethenny. So I think that it was very big of Luann and right of Luann to thank Bethenny for the trip. And as soon as she starts thanking Bethenny for the trip, Ramona, I told y'all, I knew it was coming. Ramona says, why are you thanking her for the trip? This is all of our trip. You need to be thanking me. Ramona is so nasty. She's like, you need to be thanking me. I planned part of the trip too. We all are a part of this. You need to be thanking all of us. And Bethenny blows up. I told you it was going to be something minute, something petty for her to blow up, for the both of them to blow up and attack each other because they never resolved their issues. So Bethenny blows up, calling her an a-hole. Why are you so rude? Why are you so mean? And Ramona's just like, well, no, it's our trip. We all put this together. And Ramona, I don't know what's going on with her, but this season she has constantly broken the fourth wall because the storyline is that this is Bethenny's trip. And for Ramona to continue to say that, no, this is all of our trip. You can't throw me off of the trip. She's breaking the fourth wall and letting us know that this is something that Bravo put together, that they have to do. This is a cast trip. And I get it, but I'm just like, I don't know why they keep on leaving this in. And maybe what she said was all they could leave in, and they probably cut out a lot because she was probably breaking the fourth wall so much, because I've never seen her talk like this. And I'm like, we know that this is a Bravo trip. You don't have to keep on saying it, Ramona. But I think she's upset that Bethenny is getting recognition for this. Maybe it could be jealousy. I don't know what it is with Ramona and Bethenny, but they have just fallen down a dark hole this season. Well, girl, Tinsley found her voice in the midst of Bethenny and Ramona going at it, and out of nowhere, she was just like, Ramona, why are you posting stuff about me in the post about how I'm and it just came. I get that she was upset about it, but she probably should have addressed it because this blow up came out of nowhere because Ramona and Bethenny are going at it, and then Tinsley is just like, oh hell no, I'm gonna jump in the ring too. So she just blows up, and Ramona, I think Ramona not really taking her blow up seriously, and so you're not really taking a blow up seriously, sent her up another notch because she starts bawling about the whole situation and doing that Tinsley squeal again that I'm like, girl, you have got to stop that. You are 41 years old. Nobody's going to baby a middle-aged woman. It's just not going to happen. You have got to grow up, because two things about that, right? You will irk the hell out of people and nobody will want to be bothered with you. Two, people will see that people will take that as weak and take advantage of you because they know that they can get to your heart so easily, because she just had a full-on meltdown. And I'm like, oh God. And the funniest thing about it is because the Countess is so drunk, she keeps on chiming in words of wisdom like she doesn't see Tinsley falling apart. Like, who would have known that we would have got smashed Countess this girls trip? I was expecting Dorinda. But nah, the Countess took the cake. So the ladies go their separate ways. Ramona and the Countess walk off, and the Countess is gone, guys. Absolutely gone. She's trying to walk. She takes a tumble in the bushes. Like, it was not just a light tumble. I feel like the next day she probably felt that tumble, because when one of the staff members tried to help her up because Ramona wouldn't, she looks to the staff, help her up, help her get out of the bushes. What are you doing? How? Help your friend. Anyway, he helps her up, and when he picks her up, her entire arms are just slashed with just like, I think like, what do they call it? The thorns from the rose bush. Like, her arms were jacked up, and I was like, oh, Countess, you are going to feel this when that liquor wears off. And then she gets her up and they start walking again. And then Countess takes an even bigger tumble. And I'm like, and like, she fell, she had to have fallen. This thing had to be like 3 or 4 feet high. She fell just straight down, hit like the concrete. I was just like, Countess, you are going to be messed up. That's where it ends with Countess falling twice. I hope she didn't break a hip or a knee. I hope she's okay, but I just know that she's going to feel it tomorrow, and I absolutely hope they got that footage. I need to see the next day of all of those damn tumbles. Anyway, that's where the episode ends. Next week seems like it's going to be even juicier. This whole trip, I think we're probably going to get the most meat out of this trip than we are for the remainder of the season. But I look forward to it, because that's when we get the juiciest stuff from these shows, when they go on these trips. So anyway, if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for the following episode of The Real Housewives of New York. Bye, guys.